tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We will be covering, obviously, the game between Portugal and France. We'll also cover the magical game between Spain and Germany. We'll be previewing England, Switzerland tomorrow. We'll also be talking about the game between Argentina and Ecuador that came yesterday, and also preview the Netherlands-Turkey game tomorrow. And make sure you stick around for the end of the show. We will be previewing the Brazil and Uruguay game, also coming tomorrow. Tomorrow? No, that game is coming. I believe that game is coming on Sunday. Let me double check that real quick, honestly. But I believe that game should be coming Sunday, actually. I think the Venezuela-Canada game is today. Yeah, game is coming tomorrow. So, yeah, we'll also be talking about the Brazil-Uruguay game that comes tomorrow. Before we start off, I'd like to ask that y'all like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions that come in during the show. So to ensure that your questions get read on the air, I ask that you use the Tips and Donations link at gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also really helps grow the show. So again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. We have to start off. Let's fix something real quick. We start off with France knocking Portugal out of the European Championships after penalty kicks. What a game! A game that had its moments of being very up and down, exciting. Also had some moments of being really boring and putrid to watch. Portugal having controlling most of the possession as we expected. Deschamps playing the Deschamps way of conceding the ball, Portugal taking the ball. And just a real lack of end product from both teams, despite both teams having ridiculously good quality amongst the squad. Just lack of end product from everybody, from Rafael Leao, from Nuno Mendes, from Dembele when he came on, from Barcola when he came on, from Camavinga who missed an opportunity. Just no end product in terms of general play. Absolutely brilliant, but when both teams got into the box, just couldn't get it done. And you can analyze what went right for France, what went wrong for Portugal. It's not really, that's not the case. This is a draw that finished in penalties, and that's how France moved on. But France showed some deficiencies. They can't score a goal. Mbappe looks off it, even before the nose situation happened. Mbappe looks off it. Portugal look completely off it as well. Not Portugal. The rest of France's attack looks off it as well. They don't look like they're gonna score goals. They had a few opportunities here and they couldn't get it done. The finishing has not been good enough. The end product has not been good enough from the entire French attack. It just not has been good enough at all. And the lack of end product, lack of clinical ability, lack of efficiency amongst the attack put them in a dangerous position where they needed a penalty shootout to get past Portugal, or they could be very well heading home. And if we have to be honest, Spain have to be massive favorites because the level of performances between the two there's a gap. France are here into European Championships semi-final, and they still somehow have not scored not a single French player has registered a goal. They have 2 own goals and 1 penalties this entire tournament, and somehow they're in the semi-finals, which is a testament to their Deschamps and the way that they defend. Which, by the way, there was some last-gasp defending going on there for both teams, but for France as well. The Rafael Leao block on Upamecano. Saliba had to make in a few blocks here and there as well. Last-Gasp defending, and it's critical. It's critical defending because you find yourselves in a situation where you're going out, and at the end, Portugal, Nuno Mendes, he had that opportunity, fell at the top of the box, you know, perfect place. He could choose each side, but instead it goes right at Macmillan, and who had an absolutely brilliant game. Macmillan, absolutely brilliant game. Really a great game, and kept France at these European Championship. It's it's a big blow for Portugal. Don't think Portugal got outplayed in this game by any means. You look at the stats: 20 shots for France, 15 shots for Portugal, 5 shots on target for France to 4 shots on target for Portugal, 40% possession for France, 60% Portugal. Portugal having almost 200 or almost 300 more passes as well. Even having three almost over 300 more almost 300 more passes, also still having a higher pass accuracy rate of 93 compared to France at 91. Dude, France and Portugal, they were in this game fully expected. They have the talent to do it, but these sort of games, they never get over the line in these sort of games, in these sort of moments. It seems like every time Portugal is in a penalty shootout at a major international tournament, they lose. That I remember, I mean. In 2016, during their miracle run to the European Championship final, they won 2 penalties. But other than that, you lose a penalty shootout in 2012 to Spain. You lose a penalty shootout in 2000 in I believe it was. You lose this penalty shootout. You lose the penalty shootout in 2012. There was another penalty shootout that they lost, if I'm mistaken. 2018 World Cup. How did they get eliminated? No, they lost to Uruguay. That okay. 2021 Euros, they lost to Belgium. 2020. Actually, no, not really. Actually, to be honest, but the Confederation Cup in 2017. That's the one I was thinking of. 2017 Confederation Cup, 2012 World Cup, European Championship, and then now this European Championship. Maybe they just can't get the right side. It's a psychologically blow because it's tough losing on penalties. It's the draw of the luck. Now France, they've been poor. They've been really, really, really poor. I said they can get away in this game being poor because Portugal has been poor too, and we saw that with Portugal's end product. But they can't get away with how poor they've been against Spain. Now, as far as Portugal, look, Ronaldo, it was a good run. It was a great run that he had for Portugal. Amazing run. The greatest Portuguese player of all time. I think it's time for him and time for Portugal. It's good for both. That Ronaldo just steps aside and lets the new generation. There's some very, very, very high quality players on this bench, like João Felix, Diego Gota, Gonzalo Ramos, and on, that don't even get a sniff in this tournament because of Ronaldo's presence and because of the fear that everyone has for Ronaldo, including the manager. He is hurting this team now. He doesn't, anything he does from here on out is just building a legacy. Not ruining a legacy, but sort of building one that kind of like tarnishes the ending of what Ronaldo should be. All these major international tournaments, us looking at it and weighing him down. And let's be honest, he has weighed down Portugal these past few international tournaments. He has not been as level, and his name, his whole the Ronaldo being Ronaldo has allowed him to stay in the starting 11. Stay in the squad and starting 11. It's really unbelievable, in my opinion, how he still not only he has so much power to continue playing for Portugal, which I mean, okay, I could see that, but how does he play back-to-back games, 120 minutes as a 39-year-old, no substitution at all? Because look, Pepe, he doesn't, he still, as the game goes on, he still shows like he has the capabilities to defend. He doesn't look out of it. Ronaldo didn't have a kick in this game. The few times it got to him, he immediately lost the ball. The few times, he didn't have a single time in the game that he was really on the ball. There was one time he was on the ball, he flipped it out to, I believe, Nuno Mendes on the wing after carrying it for a bit. Other than that, that's the first time he legitimately had a touch on the ball. The rest of it was just scrapping. He looks a step too slow. He's overfrying opportunities. Had a very, very good chance. Ball just a little bit behind it, but, it's still for a guy that's supposedly at his caliber, an easy opportunity that should, smash the back of the net. This time with Skies, it's just hard to watch what's going on. It was hard to watch that today. It was not Ronaldo's. It hasn't been Ronaldo's European Championship. He's been pretty invisible the whole European Championship, and yeah, I don't want to say too much regarding Portugal. Again, I think the chance creation was a little bit better. I think they were a little bit more direct here, but still slow, lethargic. They had a break at the end of the game that, they still ended up getting a good opportunity. Nuno Mendes, top of the box, but they could have had a much easier way. They have two guys on the right-hand side in acres of space, and the ball played to them takes way too long. And once it does get played into Bernardo Silva, he doesn't take his space. He doesn't take the shot. He just wastes so much time, and eventually has to passes it, who leads to that Nuno Mendes shot. But still, it was really slow at certain times for Portugal, and that is what it is. But France, man, they have a price to pay for how they've been performing. If they continue to perform like this, Spain will take care of them. They really will. I'm just saying that right now. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll discuss Spain getting their Last-Gasp winner to send them past Germany.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, I'm losing shit. A stupid myth, you choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
We move on to react to Spain. Spain were able to get a Last-Gasp winner and send them into the semifinals past Germany. Now what a game. What a game of real quality, real attacking intent, real personality, constant waves of momentum being shifted. Absolute brilliant game. You saw the home nation on one end in desperate situations. You saw Spain on the other hand look really vulnerable at certain times that we haven't seen at this European Championship. But yeah, it was a great game to watch. It was a great game to watch. Luis de la Fuente came out and said his players are insatiable insatiable after this game, meaning, you know, this is not the end. They understand that they understand that there is a bigger objective. Even though this seems like a final before the final, they cannot lose their head here. But yes, Mikel Moreno scored a dramatic goal, 119th minute, as Spain knock out the host, reminiscent of when Italy knocked out Germany at their home World Cup. That late goal, similar sort of vibes. Spain defeating the host. Spain are gonna get to take on France in Munich on Tuesday. De La Fuente came out saying we are seeing history. It is the first time we've had 5 wins in a row at a Euros or a World Cup. It is also the first time beating the host in one of the major tournaments. It's a moment to put value on what we have achieved and enjoy this historic moment. We will see how the story ends, but this team wants to go all the way. These players have heart. They're insatiable. They don't tire of competing and working hard. They're ambitious. It's an honor to have players with those values. Spain, it took some real mental strength in this game. They went up 1-0 after having a first half that I thought they didn't dominate the first half, but I thought, in my opinion, they were clearly the better team in that first half. I really thought they were, not clearly, but they were the better of the two teams. Not clearly, but they were the better of the two teams, even though Germany had, a few of their opportunities as well. But Spain were able to get the breakthrough, and when Spain were able to get the breakthrough, they were under heavy pressure, and it was sustained pressure from Germany. They were able to win the ball high and start attacks. It was all Germany for the rest of that second half, and it was a very impressive response by Germany. Really was very impressive response from Germany. The way they were able to take the game to the scruff of the neck against a Spain team that really hasn't shown no weaknesses at this tournament, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Toni Kroos, he's retiring, or he's now officially retired. He came out talking about how Spain shattered their dreams. To be honest, this is what Toni Kroos said. To be honest, right now, the main feeling is that the tournament is over because we all had a big goal that we wanted to achieve together, and the dream we all had has been simply shattered now. We can all be proud because we improved. I am happy to have helped Germany as a football nation to have hope again. In the future, I am convinced the team will succeed. But today we are sad because we wanted to stay in the competition a bit longer. Look, it's very difficult for Toni Kroos in that situation. It's his final game of football. But Spain have been the better team this tournament. I think Germany has shown sign of weaknesses that Spain has not shown at all throughout these European Championship. I thought today's game they did, with being up 1-0 and suffering the way that they suffered, but kind of expected, honestly. When you're up against 1-0 going up against the host. There was a moment that I really thought, wow, I couldn't believe the Cucurella the Cucurella penalty was not given. There is no way Anderson's for Denmark was a penalty, but not the Cucurella. There is no way. When Musiala attempted the shot, Cucurella's hand is away from his body. It's not extended, yes. It's in a natural position, yes, but it's still making himself bigger. It makes his body bigger. That makes, the arm is out, and it clearly strikes the arm. There's no arguing that, and that shot is potentially on target. And VAR did not change it. Referee did not change it. Obviously, it came from Anthony Taylor and Stuart Atwell, the crew, that mucked it up in that France-Netherlands game. So we can't be surprised. But for me, it has to be. So okay, I'm reading this thing outlining why it was not given and not given. So let's start off with the first one in Joachim Andersen's. UEFA says the arm is in a raised position, which creates a barrier to stop the ball. That's not explainable by body position, and referee or VAR should give a spot kick. And if UEFA didn't believe that was the correct decision, Atwell wouldn't be doing the VAR for this game. In a pre-tournament briefing, Roberto Rossetti, the UEFA's head of referees, gave specific examples of when it should be a handball and when it should be like a penalty for a handball. Rossetti showed clips of the ball hitting a defender's arm, which is in a vertical position close to the body. He said this should not be a penalty, and if the arm is close to the body and not extended to create what could be deemed a barrier, this should not be punished. It was very close to the Cucurella incident. While handball and UEFA competitions remain more strict, it has tried to give at least someone more leeway to defenders so they don't need to have their hands behind their back. So a defender in a standing position when the ball hits the arm, or either close to their side in a position vertically or with the arm behind the line of the body, should not be punished. The problem is when the ball hitting the arm of Andersen from fairly close range with minimal contact when in a running motion seems less acceptable than giving a penalty against Cucurella for stopping a shot on goal. I completely agree with that, what was written there. Completely agree. But at the end of the day, UEFA jurisdiction, saying Andersen's was a penalty, this one wasn't. I think Germany will feel so hard done by it because of the fact the shot is going on goal, the fact that the arm is not up on the body. You could tell there's separation between his hand and the rest of his body. He is making himself bigger, but yeah, it's very tight margins. It's very, very tight margins. Now Germany, it's really sad the way that they went out, conceding in the 119th minute, and this home European Championship going out in the quarterfinals. Really heartbreaking for a team like Germany. The Toni Kroos situation, the potential handball, just everything about it. It's so heartbreaking, and that's, at the end of the day, that's what we love about football. Everything is tight margins. And Mikel Moreno, what a header. What a header. I mean, in that moment, the quality, the placement in that sort of moment, honestly, absolutely brilliant. And it has sent Spain into the semifinal because, you never know who was going to win that penalties. You don't know. So, hats off to Mikel Moreno. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we will move on to preview England versus Switzerland.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network. Now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Next segment coming up, we are going to preview England versus Switzerland. I talked about more about the tactical changes that potentially could come for England Switzerland tomorrow. Big game. Big game. Even a quarterfinal, this ilk. England, team of individuals that has not been able to turn it on in terms of general play, how good they have been in terms of performance. Has it been nowhere near the levels of the quality of the squad? And then you have a Switzerland team that has really been amazing this tournament, despite having less perceived quality or less individual quality than the players England has. Individually, you maybe have one player that would get into the England 11, maybe Xhaka. I could see Xhaka getting in there, playing that sort of holding role instead of Declan Rice, playing him with Bellingham as the double pivot. I could see that. Apart from that, and Jan Sommer, I'd play Jan Sommer over Pickford in the starting 11. But apart from that, you don't see much Switzerland players getting into England's squad, let alone 11. But they have been here and they've got here playing fantastic, dominating football. The way that they dominated Hungary that opening game, the way they did what they did against Germany, taking them to the last minute, and then completely dominating Italy, ripping out their guts. They're gonna want to come in and want to do that against England. England are coming in very bad form, been really bad this season, this European Championship. They've been here on individual moments. That's how they got past Slovakia. That's how they beat Serbia on one moment, and then really defended for their lives against Denmark. Really played poor against Slovenia. Played poor. We saw a second half where they were a little bit better, and they gave a lot of England fans hope, and then it was garbage again against Slovakia, and all that hope went away. But it got to a point now for English fans where every game, it don't matter anymore. Now it just matters you win. We're okay with it, because once you get to this point as in a quarterfinal, the performance don't matter. You have 3 games left to win the European Championship. The performance don't matter. Just get the job done. And at the end of the day, that's what it is for England. They've accepted this team is not going to play high fluid, high attacking football like the way they see these players play for their clubs, teams, and all that. They accept that's not a reality for us, but for not us, but for English fans accepted that that's not a reality for them. But at the same time, there's still heavy pressure to get the results. Heavy pressure to get the results. Because, look, Gareth Southgate can say whatever he says, talking about, I think he said something about sort of entitlement, talking about easy draw. But it's an easy draw. It's an absolutely easy draw. You get to play Switzerland, which, yes, have had a very good game. But if you were asked to take on Switzerland before the European Championship in the quarterfinals, you would fancy your chances. You would love that. And then you get to take on the winner of Netherlands-Turkey. You would have taken that too in a semifinal to reach a final. Absolutely. After getting past Slovakia, to be able to have those sort of matchups to reach a final, you would absolutely take that. So I don't want to hear any of this talk regarding this is, or I think what Gareth Southgate said is all bluff. It is an easy draw for England. Well, I don't think they're gonna take advantage of it, because I think Switzerland are gonna send them home. But it is an easy draw for England, and it adds to the pressure, because if you don't reach the final, then it's just wasting a golden opportunity that they find, and they've had multiple golden opportunities. They had not a Mickey Mouse, that's a crazy thing to say, but they had a Mickey Mouse run in the 2018 World Cup. They had a Mickey Mouse run, extreme Mickey Mouse run in the 2021 Euros. Like, let's be for real. It's not been good enough from England. They've been pragmatic. They've been pessimistic. They play with fear, and that has to go away. Even if England are able to get up 1-0 on an individual moment against Switzerland, if they were able to take advantage on an individual moment, the amount of suffocating that they will suffer because of how much they'll get pinned back, because of how progressive Swiss will be and how England will struggle against that and really play, it'll be a nightmare of a second half for them, or whatever is left in the game. So, and now you're looking at potential formation changes because Mark Gahey being out. It's clear he probably doesn't trust Konsa playing in the back four. He's probably going to go with the likes of a Konsa paired with Kyle Walker and John Stones as a back three or so, which is interesting. If he does go with that, I'm interested to see what he does with the left and right hand side. I saw some rumors saying Trent Alexander-Arnold will still not be in the setup, will still not be in the 11. If he goes to that, that'd be shocking to me. Because I don't see who you're gonna play as the two fullbacks. You know, maybe he plays Trippier on the right hand side and then plays Bukayo Saka as the left wing back. Maybe I could see that happening, but still, you know, I think Trent has more quality than Trippier. Just flat out, he has more quality than Trippier. And you play Trippier over Trent, you feed, it makes sense why these players have a naturally pessimistic mindset, because the manager is pessimistic. These guys, they concede a goal, England, and they're automatically drop down 10 yards and start defending for their lives. It's a whole mindset. That comes from Gareth Southgate. And that's so wrong how he takes these brilliant players that play for their clubs, that play with the mentality, we get a goal, okay, now it's time to get a second, third, fourth, fifth, and kill off a game. But he completely changed it. All these top players, their mindset turns into, oh, we get a goal, let's defend for our lives. Let's play to win. Let's play to defend ourselves instead of going after it. Let's play to avoid losing rather than to go winning. That's what it's like. That's what it's like playing. What I've seen from this England squad. These players play with a fear to lose rather than an approach to win, and that is wrong with the quality of players that they have. Performance levels have been nowhere near enough. Portugal, their performance levels have been nowhere near enough with the quality of players that they have. They ended up getting got out. And England, it's coming for them too. If it doesn't come for Switzerland, it'll come against the Netherlands. And if it doesn't come, then it'll come for the finals. But the way that they're performing, they will not win the finals. No way they win the European Championship. We saw today with Portugal, you get caught out. If you don't play to the level, you get caught out. Now, France, their time might be coming too. Because, at least in the French teams in the past, they were dynamite in transition. We don't see that with this France team. So I think their time is coming too. Now, Switzerland, I think where England could cause trouble is if they can provide dynamism with their wingers and verticality. If you bring in a guy like Gordon and Saka, keep Saka in, and you continue with the runs, you make more runs in behind, more diagonal runs. Fabian Schär and Rodriguez, they're not the most pacey of guys. This is not the most paciest team. Granit Xhaka also. These are guys, England has a margin over them when it comes to athleticism. England has the athleticism edge. Take advantage of the pace. Take advantage of the physicality of these players because of the fact that they play in the Premier League. The athleticism, England can boss this game athletically. They have not done that. They don't do that. These players, they all started to get technical, England, and then they started losing their physical identity of being English. They still have, they're still more athletic than the Swiss team. they can make this Swiss team athletically look fragile. And I hope that's going to be very interesting to see if they're able to take advantage of the in the midfield of Granit Xhaka's lack of getting around, Ricardo Rodriguez, his pace. But again, I think Swiss just played a better football. Murat Yakin, I think he can dominate Gareth Southgate tactically. I think he can outthink him. I think he gets his team playing better than the sum of their individual parts, while Gareth Southgate gets his team playing worse than the sum of their individual parts. The difference of quality amongst the two teams is so wide in how much more quality England has, but how much better the style of play is, and the approach of the game is to Yakin, with wanting to go for it, with having a clear pattern of play of how to achieve that goal. You don't see that with England, and that's why I got Swiss. They've been a better team, and I think they continue that and move on in this European Championship. Short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll talk about Argentina defeating Ecuador, and Netherlands. We'll be previewing Netherlands versus Turkey.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Two topics coming up in this segment, a little bit unique, but we have a little bit more we gotta discuss today than usual. Argentina, they were able to get past Ecuador in very gritty, tight fashion. It was a thriller. Lionel Messi, he needed his teammates to bail him out. Not just for the missed penalty and penalty shootout, but rather the performance throughout the game, which I believe he was majorly hampered based on the injury he was facing. You could tell there's no mobility. His mobility is shot. Maybe a little bit is because of his age, obviously, but that injury has a lot to do with it. But overall, this Copa America, he hasn't been as sharp as he is. But at the end of the day, Argentina were still able to get it done and move on after a game in which they scored a goal early and then they suffered a equalizer so late on, minutes before the game was over and added time. And in Copa America, there is no added extra time in Copa America. Once it's finished within regulation, it goes straight to penalties. So really conceding a goal in that moment could really be like a death sentence psychologically going into a penalty shootout after giving away the game in the final moments. It can just make it that a little bit iffy in penalty shootouts. we have to defend this, or it'll be such a bad loss, maybe it makes it a little bit worse mentally, but Argentina were still able to get it done. You look at the stats in this game. By the way, some Argentina players performed really bad, nowhere near the levels that they did while in the World Cup. Enzo Fernandez, Rodrigo de Ball, they got, they looked a little bit immobile sometimes in midfield. Just really lack quality, in my opinion. By the way, Emiliano Martinez again saved the day. Made some crucial saves. Made some saves in the penalty shootout. What a player! But you look at the stats of this game: 9 shots to Ecuador, 8 shots for Argentina, 2 shots on target each. Possession basically 50-50, 51-49. Yeah, Argentina very, very lucky, and it does take luck to win in these sort of games, but they could really be out. They really, really could be out. Even Ecuador, they had a glancing error at the end to win it with the momentum that they had after that goal. They could have won it within the 90 minutes, which would have been crazy, absolutely crazy, mind-boggling. But Ender Valencia, he ended up missing a penalty off the post. Sad for him. He's had a brilliant career for Ecuador. Really been big for them at a major international tournament. Hasn't had his best international tournament this time around with the red card early on. Then now coming on to miss this penalty here. But yeah, I just think some performances from Argentina was some players. Rodrigo de Ball, Enzo, Messi. Just not good enough. Not good enough. Not at the level that they need to be. I thought all Argentina players were pretty bad. Besides, I thought Emiliano Martinez was great. I thought Alessandro Martinez was actually really good too. Alexis McAllister, I thought he was decent. Apart from that, I thought Nahuel Molina was so poor to start off the game. I thought the left hand side, they torched them with Moises Caicedo playing a little bit higher up in the game, which was very interesting to see. I thought Tagliafico didn't really give us much going forward. I thought defensively he was decent, some good tackles, slide tackles, but apart from that, nothing. I thought Rodrigo de Paul so bad. Was dominated by Ecuador midfield and made a mistake that led to the penalty. The penalty that Ender Valencia couldn't get to go. And then Messi, I told about Messi. It's clear he's injured, and I thought Lautaro Martinez was also very, very quiet. But he did get the goal, and that's important because he wasn't able to get those goals at the World Cup last time around. And he's been here and he's been getting goals at this Copa America. It's good for his confidence, and it's good for him to, really be on the good side of Lionel Scaloni again. And now they're off to a semifinal despite this poor performance against potentially Venezuela, Canada, and then they're one game. That's the game to reach the final, and then they're one game away from winning, a third major international tournament in a row, which will be one hell of achievement. So at the end of the day, performance at this day and age doesn't really matter. You get the results. You move on. Performance does not matter anymore. It's all about the results at the end of the day. They don't care if you win. If the Messi ended up winning, or Argentina ended up winning this game 5-6-7-0, it doesn't give them anything extra in that next game. What matters is that they get their opportunity to play that next game against whoever wins between Canada and Venezuela. So yeah. Other topic is Netherlands-Turkey. Wow, what a game! Mehdi Demiral, the star of the previous Turkey game when they took on Austria. Mehdi Demiral, he has been banned for this game. He actually has been banned for the next 2 games for Turkey after celebrating a goal with a political gesture and which is sad to see. Sad to see that, a celebration is gonna cost the game, a player, the biggest game, honestly, of his career. But he won't be available after being the star of the show last game, and puts the Netherlands in a tricky situation because they've had center backs go down like a cat. Now Mehdi Demiral, he's out today, but Ozan Kabak, he got hurt before the season. So Yun Chu, he got hurt a few weeks ago as well, or a few months ago now as well, and it puts themselves in a tricky situation. I do not know I'll be interested to see how they manage it. But Netherlands, they're in this game thinking, they play to the level that they played against Romania. They clinical with their opportunity. They're very direct in playing with Gakpo and Bergwijn and Depay, or if you bring in Malen, or and then bring Xavi Simons to play behind them, to get on the ball, to be kind of the free roamer, and so the other players can be the dynamic runners in behind. It makes this Netherlands attack very, very deadly. Defensively, they're very, very strong. They don't give you much up. They don't give up much up, but attack-wise, they have verticality, they have directness. They're all tidy players. No stars amongst this team. No real huge stars amongst this team, but no weaknesses amongst this team too. Real quality all over the pitch. I think they're a deadly, deadly, deadly team. Not just to win this, but to go even farther. For me, Netherlands, they continue. Cody Gakpo, clinical, end product, brilliant. He does not have the, a crazy ability of a Dembele or a Leroy Sané or a Doku. He doesn't have those sort of pace, doesn't have that sort of directness like them, but he has quality. He could still get past the man. He has a shot on him. He's able to create for his teammates. He's able to score goals. He has good height for set plays. He's just a end product warrior. And he's been so important for them at this European Championship, scoring 3 goals. And I think he will continue to provide that sort of value. For me, Cody Gakpo is a brilliant, brilliant player. Brilliant player who, hasn't replicated this Netherlands form for Liverpool. But I think with Arne Slot coming in, we'll see a little bit of that. But short break here coming up. When we come back, we'll move on to the next segment. Last topic of the segment, last segment coming up before we conclude the show. Brazil versus Uruguay, previewing that game. Very interesting game. Best game we have at this Copa America, in my opinion, so far. Even game between the two teams, both teams with aspirations to win it. The top 3 teams in CONMEBOL, in my opinion, historically, 1 and 3, with Brazil being 1, Uruguay being 3. Historically, right now it's a little bit different, but this is a heavyweight matchup. It's gonna be in Las Vegas. It's gonna be filled up to the T, mouth watering, and and the winner will take on the winner between Colombia and Panama. Uruguay, they've been amazing this Copa America. They've had 9 points. Brazil, on the other hand, been poor with 5 points in my opinion for their standard, not winning the group. It has been a poor Copa America for them. But at the end of the day, all that goes out of the way in this sort of game with the rivalry between these two teams. No one's going to be thinking about the points. People are going to think about the result. Major, news though for this game. Vinicius Jr., he will be out for the final. Or not for the final. For the game against Uruguay. Vinicius Jr. will not be available. And Dorvel Jr., he came out and he criticized the decision to pick Vinicius Jr. He was really frustrated, saying it's a situation that happened in the game, in the first move, which was accidental for me. He ended up getting his first card. Everything that happened was very strange. Recently, I heard that Brazil had to learn to play without their big players. I think it's time. Vinny happens to be out, and unfortunately, we lost Neymar to an injury before the tournament. We have to learn that at times, others will have to appear. We'll have a difficult game against Uruguay. Vinny is a top player who can win games for us, Danilo said. And Danilo also said, but we have other players with a lot of quality and potential, and let's try to make up for Vinny's absence. Referees have been horrible this tournament, by the way. Just saying. As Dorvel Jr. continued to say, he said in another quote, at the moment, it would have been 2-0 regarding the penalty decision. With the speed we have, the team we have, the scoreline of 2-0 is very different than 1-0. For me, it was decisive, especially because inside the stadium, only the referee and the VAR team didn't see the penalty. Brazil were once again put at a disadvantage. It's been really, really poor. Really, really poor regarding VAR decisions. Really, really poor. Colombo has been really poor at this Copa America. But I don't want to speak too much. I want to speak about the quality of this game, quality of these opponents. Now, with Vinicius Jr. being out, I think it's interesting how Brazil go about it. I think you bring in play Endrick in that role up there. I think you play Rodrigo in his natural role, taking up that Vini left-sided role. And then you keep Rafinha on the right-hand side. I think that's a team with quality, with verticality too, with Rodrigo and Endrick. And, has the inverted nature of Rafinha and his left foot. So I think that is a front three that can work. But with no Vinicius has been the dynamism, the real dynamite of Brazil in the one game that they look successful. Against Paraguay, they look successful because of Vinicius being successful. Apart from that, I don't see dynamism with this team. I don't see that. Maybe Endrick can provide that, but at 17, that's a little bit too much to ask to be the main guy. I think Uruguay will also have a lot to say in this game about how they play in transition with the likes of Darwin Nunez, Pelestri, and the crew. They have pace in transition. They will press up high. They will play very, very high, intense. And whenever it's time to defend, they will defend for their lives. They won't give up much space. It can be tactically very, very interesting. Marcelo Bielsa, he's called a loco. If this game is 0-0 late, how aggressive do Uruguay stay? How aggressive, how high up do they stay? How high pressing do they stay? If they continue to press throughout the game, if they play a high line throughout the game, because in the U.S. you saw they were able to drop that back line back a few yards and really start defending and just protect the lead. They have that ability, even though they Marcelo Bielsa is loco and all this and that. They do have at certain times they are able to knock it back and just chill and to defend and to protect. They have that ability naturally amongst this team. So yeah, I don't know how this game will go. I think Uruguay are the favorites. I think Uruguay have been better. But it'll be interesting to see where Brazil is going to be able to find the breakthrough. It took a free kick against Colombia, but you don't get free kicks you don't get a free kick to hit the back of the net every day. How are they able to get the breakthrough? Because even against Paraguay, a penalty did help them to really break the game open. There is real quality in terms of real lack of goal scorers amongst this team. I mean, I said Vinicius Jr. has what? I believe like 4 or 5 goals in 32 games or something. Nowhere near the levels of he's not even available for this game. But even when he does play for Brazil, he does not score goals for them. Real lack of goal scoring, and they there's no real number 9 in the ranks right now. There isn't, not a top quality number 9, not for Brazil, which is bad. And then and sometimes in these sort of games that you're playing, that's just a cagey affair and it's tight. You need a number 9 that can bail you out of nothing, that can score a goal out of nothing, and that can save you or bail you out or even win a game. And Brazil, they don't have that. They don't have that. Rodrigo, he's so clinical for Real Madrid. He cannot get a sniff at goal for 40, 50, 60 minutes. He has one little tiny maze to the goal that he one little tiny hole, and he'll find it, take that opportunity, and he'll bury it. It's just unbelievable to me why we can't see that for Brazil. Why we can't see the levels of these guys for Real Madrid. Why we don't see that for Brazil? I don't understand. Midfield-wise, I think Bruno Guimarães, Lucas Paquetá, I think they need to be very disciplined. Uruguay, they have a workmanlike midfield. Players that will run around. With Ugarte, De La Cruz, Valverde. It's a workmanlike midfield. It's a proper footballing midfield. I think Bruno Guimarães, Lucas Paquetá, they could get caught out. I think they could they could struggle playing against that, just how much they work. The thing is, Brazil, they can control the ball against that midfield. They could, but that Uruguayan team will work very, very hard, and they won't get uncomfortable from Brazil, from Gomez, Guimarães, Paquetá controlling the ball. I think that Uruguayan team, and if Valverde, he has a great capacity, a very, very good capacity to make those late run into the box, to get on good crosses and good opportunities to potentially get a goal. It's very important. I don't know who in this midfield has that ability to pick up these late runners and that will defend. It's very, very important that these midfielders, because there's no real natural holding midfielder in there. So it's very, very important someone, or I think both the Guimarães and João Gomes, take on the defensive responsibilities of potential late runners that may come from Uruguay, and to be willing to be very, very comfortable playing against the press, because especially even early in the game, that press will be coming. They will come, and they will come smelling for blood. I think Uruguay, I think they have a trick up their sleeve with a guy like De Arrascaeta, who I think could be very, very good in this game in terms of being a guy that can break down, another guy with the capacity to get into the box and score a goal, but also a tidy sort of player that's very, very good in tight spaces, that can play a defining ball, that has that sort of quality. He's not probably going to start in this game, but I definitely see a guy of this game. He's used to playing with these Brazilian sort of players. He has that Brazilian flair, and the fact that he does play in, I believe, Flamengo. So, and he's a big time player in my opinion. So don't count out De Arrascaeta getting involved in this sort of game, in this sort of atmosphere. I think he will be up for it. I think Bentancur, I think he is going to have something to do with in this game in terms of his ball retention. I think if you see the fact that Uruguay are struggling to get on the ball because of how good Paquetá, João Gomes, and Bruno Guimarães has been able to control it, I can see Bentancur coming in to help retain the ball more. So I'm gonna be very interesting how to see these two managers go head to head. The refereeing has to be up to it. Brazil has had 2 penalties this Copa America not called. If they go out because of another missed call, it'll be an absolute disgrace. The referees need to be up to it, because this is gonna be a tight, cagey affair, and one missed call could cost not only Brazil but could cost Uruguay, this game. So the refereeing has to be to the level. It has to be, or else that's a massive, massive disappointment for a tournament that's supposed to have this sort of ilk. Very, very concerning. Now, look, I think Uruguay will win this game. I think it'll be 1-0, tight affair. They will win it on a set piece or something of that sort. But obviously, I'm not counting out Brazil. I just think they really lack that little bit of cutting edge. And they're not the old Brazil. There's no fear factor. And it's scary what we're seeing right now. It really is. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Mm-hmm.